I want to briefly highlight a very powerful and interesting theme emerging right now. We're on the cusp of two very important stationings. Mars will station direct a little bit later this month. This is the end of a months-long Mars retrograde journey, but even then, Mars is still going to complete its time in Cancer and make its final opposition to Pluto. So there's still a lot of really powerful Mars evolutionary dynamics yet to come. But it's a turning point, okay? So this is the beginning of the end of this Mars cycle. And Venus is soon to station retrograde in Aries, and they're just happening a week from each other. So let's just briefly take a look at their movements. Take a look at Mars here. At the very end of this month, at 17 degrees Cancer, Mars will station direct on the 23rd of February or so. And just a week later, on the 1st of March, we have Venus stationing retrograde in Aries. So they're just a week from each other. And what's really interesting is, one, Mars is squaring Venus. They're squaring each other. And Mars is also the ruler of this Aries. And they're both moving very slow. They're both in this turning point kind of energy. So there's definitely a lot to unpack here. This square is happening at the very beginning of Venus moving into this very important initiatory journey. Every time Venus stations retrograde, we have this transitional process where Venus goes into this darkness and eventually re-emerges as a morning star. It's this whole deep internal transformative journey. Now, Venus corresponds to fundamentally how we as a soul listen to and relate to ourselves from within. It's how we value ourselves and reflect that value in our world, in the things that we're embracing in relationship to, and most importantly, in our human relationships. There are many themes to unpack, but I think the one that I want to share, just for now, is anger. There can be a lot of energy here focused towards, I don't have the freedom in this relationship or in this situation to express my needs, get my needs met. So the energetics of Mars feeling entrapped, or we don't have that freedom of movement, and maybe entangled in those emotional dependencies, or how our own sense of identity is linked to how other people feel or feel about us. And this deeper transformative journey of Venus in Aries, ruled by that Mars, it brings up this question, are we communicating what we need to communicate? And even more fundamentally than that, are we taking the time to listen to our feelings? Because interestingly enough, Venus corresponds to our feeling body, and then, Cancer is also emotion, which is sort of a deeper dimension, a deeper threshold of feeling. Are we listening to it, or are we just reacting and moving into old familiar patterns? Well, those patterns can really bring up that sense of feeling stifled or angry and becoming then very reactive. To listen is to get to know ourselves, become intimate with ourselves. I think we can really appreciate that being on the cusp of this journey, whatever sense of tension or stifledness or unexpressed energy and emotion that there might be for us, and wherever we might feel like there's just a lot of unexpressed energy and we feel that pressure, that heat, that fire, we can appreciate, well, okay, there's new information that I'm gleaning about myself. I'm learning more about how to value my life and how to express that value in my relationships and choices and commitments so that there's balance and harmony. That way we can show up for all the different dynamics of our life from a place of Aries self-leadership. I think we can rest upon and trust these transits, if we're doing the work, to help us connect more deeply with what's inside of us, to help us cultivate that deeper self-listening, that deeper self-intimacy. So hopefully that's helpful to appreciate whatever this is for each one of us. There's a fire here. There's an intensity. And it can also just be calling us into action. We got to do something. We got to make a choice. We got to be decisive. And this will continue to unfold. This theme is going to deepen and deepen over the next several months as Venus deepens into that retrograde and Mars moves further along its journey into that last opposition to Pluto. Very powerful alignment, very interesting in my opinion too. Once again, my training program is open for enrollment. This is an opportunity to study very deeply the practice of astrology from a soul evolutionary perspective, looking at the chart as a way to understand what are the core underlying evolutionary intentions and purpose that the soul brings with us into each lifetime. It's a beautiful practice, a deeply healing practice. It's for those who are totally new to astrology, and those that are already more studied but want to study from the very beginning from a soul perspective. We begin in just over a month. Check it out in the description below, and thank you for watching.